Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom Kuntun from Shanghai back for another Eurovision reaction video. Tonight I'm going to be reacting to the results of Eurosong 2022. That's our international final. Brooke has won, thank God. I'm going to talk about the show, the 6 acts, and what I thought about the final in general. So let's kiki. As always, there are timestamps at the bottom if you want to skip to a particular part of the video. Okay, so I just finished watching the final. It was on the Late Late Show. They devoted the whole show towards it. So first of all, I'm going to start with talking about the show. I've actually got some positive things to say as well. It's not all negative. It's not all criticisms. I'll talk about that and then I'll talk about the 6 acts one by one later on. So first of all, the positives. I did actually like some things about the show. I really like Marty Whelan. I think he's just got a great sense of humor, and I do get the impression he actually watches Eurovision because I think he's the commentator for art. So he does actually have some background knowledge, and he's got a nice, fun personality. I like how he had banter with all the artists. And he's funny, and he actually made me laugh a couple of times. So I like him. I would love, if going forward RT decide to give Eurovision its own show, I would love him to be part of it. I think he's great. I do feel like they need another different host so other than Ryan. I just, like, Ryan's a very competent host, but I just really don't think he cares about Eurovision at all. And there was nothing in his commentary whatsoever that implied that he had any knowledge of it. He didn't make any reference to it or anything like that. Anytime he did make a reference, it was that very dated view of corny stuff from the 90s. So they really do need to change up the host because he's no passion for it whatsoever. For him, it's just doing work. It's a job. It's nothing else. Well, he doesn't have a choice because they've taken over his show. So he's probably like, this crap has taken over my show for a day. So that's something that they definitely need to change, but Marty Whelan, keep him. The studio is so small. I think this is the only national final where you can actually hear the relatives of the people performing actually cheering, and the host actually talks to their relatives because they're like 3 meters away. Like, they had this bit with Maureen, who was I think the granny of Patrick O Sullivan, and they had a little bit of a running gag with her where she was like voting on friend. It was funny and stuff, but it's also like, it's a testament to how small the show is that you're able to have a conversation with individual people in the audience because they're 3 meters away and everything's so quiet and tiny. So then going forward, they need to get like a bigger stage or video studio or something like that, or just make it a little bit less like it's a parish meeting where anyone can just put their hand up and give their 2 cents on what they think. Like, there was no mention of Måneskin or like modern Eurovision as well. They had this like montage at the start where they showed like classic Eurovision moments, which is really, really UK and Ireland, where they show a lot of stuff from the 90s. They did show Måneskin for like 2 milliseconds, and they showed the hamster wheel, of course, from Ukraine 2015, which is one of my favorite songs ever in Eurovision. But yeah, I wish they talked more about how like Måneskin's had massive success. I wish they'd shown some videos of Måneskin and show like there was no allusions to the fact that the contest has really evolved. This was a chance for them to kind of change the perception of the contest in a large demographic and say like, look, actually it's moved on. This isn't this weird thing from the 90s anymore. It's very modern. People have a lot of success from it. The quality's gone up and we need to rise to that occasion. There was none of that at all, and that was an opportunity. So for me, that just shows that they really are just out of touch with modern Eurovision. The 4 jury members, I thought, oh god, I like Paul Harrington. At least he is actually a jury member. He was in the Czech national final. I presume he's probably done a couple of other national finals as well. Like, so I do like him. At least he's involved in Eurovision. I think the girl who was on the left, Blotnid, she's been on a couple of selection. She was on the Irish selection committee and the German one. In general, I just thought having the jury there was just slightly pointless. They just said everything was absolutely brilliant. This was brilliant, and song number 2 was brilliant, and then everything was the best song ever, and everything was 10 out of 10. It just got to the point where it was a little bit pointless because they just loved everything, and then everyone was the best, and everyone's staging was amazing, and this person can win, and this person can win. Everyone can win. They'll all come join first. What's the point of it? You know, that's why Simon Cowell is so popular, because he actually gave real proper criticisms. It's very easy to say this is brilliant and great and she's amazing and her voice is like, there was one point where Paul Harrington said that Adele should have Janet Grogan's voice. I was just like, come on, that is the most ridiculous thing ever. Adele is like a multi-million selling artist, and why would she want Janet Grogan's voice? It was a bit cringy. But yeah, I feel almost that the point of the studio jury being there was to balance out the votes, because in the end they had this absolutely wacky vote where they basically put everyone who was in last at the top, and what it did was it stopped Brendan Murray from coming like dead last, and it also made it very tense for the final vote because you had Ashes of Yesterday first, and then you had 3 songs tied on 24 points. You had 3 songs tied on, I think, 18 points or something like that. So the end voting was very exciting, but it felt very artificially created by the producers. I'm pretty sure the producers went up and said, look, do you mind putting Ashes Yesterday first and this second, this third? They put That's Rich fifth, which was just totally bizarre because they'd been very complimentary about it before. So I feel like the producer were like, look, can you do us a favor? We want to build in a little bit of artificial excitement. And we also don't want Brendan, because Brendan Murray came last with the international jury as well as the televote, and I think they didn't want him to get humiliated, which is fair enough because he's a young lad and it's one of the first songs he's written, so I don't mind that. But it did kind of give me a mini heart attack because I was like, are we really going to have like Spain 2.0 where a song is not going to go because of a jury panel of even less than Spain was 5? This would have been a jury panel of 4, so it's even like 25% worse. In any case, Brooke won, and then as if to hammer home that RT is stuck in the 90s, they brought out Riverdance for the interval act. Now, I'm not saying I hated it. I absolutely love Riverdance. It's fantastic. It's really, really gorgeous composition, and I love the dancing. I actually did Irish dancing for 6 years, so I didn't do tap Irish dancing. I did more traditional Irish dancing. I did love it, but it was kind of a little bit like, okay, you guys are stuck in the 90s, you need to move on. And then it was because it was the 25th anniversary of it, and they've got a new show starting. Overall, I thought the show was good. Quite like I said, I just think more variety in the selection and a different host, and give it its own stage. Keep Marty Whelan, and yeah, I think that's just making progress. The thing is having a foundation to build off of into the future. Now I'm going to go through all the different acts. So first up was Patrick O'Sullivan. I don't know why, but his belt was really, really, really high. I'm not sure if that's like a new fashion thing, or it just looked like his mum had kind of put his belt up really high. It was like almost up to his nipple line. His voice is absolutely fantastic. Like a really, really gorgeous voice. Not perfect, but that imperfection actually gives it a lot of character as well. Very intense and passionate. I would love him to come back with a different song in the future. I thought he was really, really great in singing. One of the jury members said that the stage production was immaculate, which is just absolutely ridiculous. That was just two very cliche interpretive dancers on a bed. It wasn't immaculate. Second up was Janet Grogan. I thought this had non-qualifier written all over it. It was so unoriginal. There was absolutely nothing in the staging at all that was remotely new. Like, it's hard to come up with a new concept that hasn't been done at all. Like, even coming up with like something that's like 10% new is difficult, but this is literally 0% new staging concepts. She did quite well in the end. I think she ended up coming second. I feel that's a little bit generous. I would probably have put Patrick second in the end. I thought overall, in terms of song and singer, I thought that was probably second. But again, like I said, I think the studio jury fiddled with the votes a little bit, so I think they had to give this maximum points that it built a lot of tension with, can Brooke overtake her. Third up was Brendan. I thought he did well. He really didn't hit that high note at the end. You got to be careful when you're writing songs for yourself that you're writing something that you can like easily sing. So he gave himself that hard note. He didn't pull it off. Even if he had pulled it off, he was pulling a little bit of an ugly face while he was doing it. I still like Brendan. I hope that he develops a more risky sense of songwriting. This song and not this like very twee kind of simple. But, I hope that he keeps going. I hope he isn't demoralized from this, from being like, I think he came last. His performance just didn't really come off. One thing I noticed as well is that all 6 of them it looked like RT bought a 6-pack of electric blue and electric pink screensavers for their computer and just put them on the background. All 6 of them had the same electric blue, pink screensavers. It's almost like they either saw my video criticizing and were like, F you, or they definitely didn't see my video. And this is like a perfect example of how they really just are just really, really, really unaware. Yeah, the screensavers in the background were really terrible. They looked so cheap. Okay, fourth up was Miles. I thought this was like pretty decent staging. I got the impression he was a little bit copying Iceland because he had 5 people behind him in the hoodies. Interestingly, one of the international jury was actually the wife of Dati from Iceland last year. So I wonder if she picked up on that. I was like, oh, this looks familiar, or if that was a nod to her. But it was nice to see some diversity in the stage, in his backing singers and the 2 guys who were dancing. The dancers, they looked like they missed a couple of moves. I was actually looking and I was like, oh God, did they break their leg or bust the ACL at some point? So I was a little bit worried for them because they missed a couple of moves. One of the judges said that it's had a nursery rhyme feel, which is... I don't think he was trying to make an insult, but that's not what you want to hear about your song. Okay, fifth up was Rachel Goode. At the start, I was kind of feeling, wow, her voice is absolutely amazing. She's a classically trained soprano. And I was thinking, wow, she would be a great person to come back with a difficult song, because I was getting this real effortless quality in how she was singing. But then she had these bum notes, and then I was like, God, that was so surprising, because I was thinking, God, she's such a like absolute solid performer. She'd be great to bring back in the future with another song. But then if she was hitting the bum notes, yeah, I was a bit surprised about that. This staging, like Janet Grogan, was just really, 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 really unimaginative. And then last, definitely not least, was Brooke. I had a little bit spoiler when I went into the show because the thumbnail for this, they didn't reveal the results, but it was a picture of Brooke. So I was kind of like this short, small sigh of relief when I saw that. When she came on the stage, it took me around 10 seconds of watching her to just completely relax, because she was so confident and competent. Her vocals sounded good. She was moving really freely. She didn't look awkward at all or uncomfortable. And it was that thing where I actually could like switch off. All my like nervousness just went, because it's like, okay, she is delivering this like flawlessly. There were no problems with it at all. And because I was like dancing and getting along with it, I was really, really, really enjoying and happy. I compare that to someone like Margaret. Do you remember Margaret Cool Me Down in 2016, where she came on stage and it was just a total another disaster? And I remember that whole performance just having this crushing feeling in my chest and just being like really tense and rigid and not being able to enjoy it, because I was like, oh my God, this is car crashing and I'm watching this disaster happen. Whereas with Brooke, I was just like totally absorbed. I was like, God, I was so impressed by how cool, calm and collected she was. She was totally and utterly in control. I'm not in absolute love with the staging. I think this kind of slumber party look, I don't think it looked like a kid's slumber party as well because of the pigtails. So I think that they need to go for a new styling direction, and her makeup was a bit on the orange side. That's so easy to change. Like literally that's the type of thing you can change in an hour. Whereas some of the things that take, you can't change. You can change. Her being confident and charismatic is something that you can change quickly, and she's already got that. So she's already got the things that she needs, the ingredients. Yeah, styling change. The song needs a revamp. It's a great base to work off of. I'm still not totally convinced by the Kesha breakdown where she's talking yet. I think if they are going to go for that, maybe have a little bit more of a melodic accompaniment, so that it feels a little bit less like someone stopped the music and she's talking and then telling people, oh, clean up your glasses, music back on. So I think some changes with that, a couple more added melodic things, maybe like a flute or something like that, or some instrumentals, or just like a bit of like variation in the song. They've got a really, really good foundation for this because it's got a really cool, catchy main melody. So I think they've got a good starting point. I'm not saying this is definitely qualifying, but Australia and UK are in the semi with us. Plus, we're in the second semi-final. This is the best opportunity we've had to qualify. We're on a 2 non-qualification streak. Of course, those are our 2 last places as well. So this is definitely not coming last. Absolutely, utterly not. I'm really, really confident in Brooke. I think she seems interested in the Eurovision community as well. She seems interactive on Twitter. I think she's actually a fan. I think she'll listen to people and what's going on in the community. I really loved her personality. She seems so sweet in the interview with Marty Wynn. I love their back and forth. So look, I'm really, really, really behind her. I think that she can do a great job. And it's not just from me being Irish. Like if I was non-Irish, I would definitely be supporting her as well. It's nice to see someone who seems like they're in Eurovision because actually like it, as opposed to like thinking this is just a job or an opportunity. I'm really, 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 really happy with this result, and I thought the show was much better than my expectations, but I still think that it needs its own standalone show. Okay, that's everything that I think about Eurosong 2022. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and thanks so much for watching. See you in another Eurovision reaction video very soon. Goodbye.